Hello YouTube, this is The Bucket coming at you today with my Zastava M70. This is a 32 ACP pistol made in Yugoslavia. We now would refer to this company as a Serbian company because Yugoslavia no longer exists. This is a steel-framed, steel-slide, steel barrel pistol. The overall barrel length is about 3 3/4 of an inch. Weighs about 23 ounces. You hear anywhere from 23 to 24 ounces. Its overall length is 6.49 inches. Its height is 4.53 inches. Its width is 1.31 inches. This is going to have 8 rounds of 32 ACP plus 1 in the chamber. This pistol, by its name M70, was designed and released in 1970. The Yugoslavians were using the M57 Tokarev, and that shot the 7.62 by 25 Tokarev round that required a lock breech, which then makes guns more expensive, makes them heavier, and let's face it, for most police, a lot of officers, you don't need that much power in a pistol, so they designed this pistol. Most people will say this is about the size of a Walther PP, a little bit larger in certain dimensions. This has some colloquial names like the Little B and the Baby Toke. It was used for a long time, about 20 years, and then Yugoslavia really decided that they were going to go really commit to the 9mm round. It's crazy to think that a few years later, because of the Olympic terrorist attacks, Germany got rid of all their 32s and really moved to 9mm. So this gun was used for a long time in Yugoslavia. If you look at the descriptions, it says Krevna Zastava caliber 7.65 model 70. On the other side, you're going to have a serial number, serial number, serial number. It has been stamped made in Yugoslavia, and this one was imported by GRC, and that was out of Martinsburg, West Virginia. So this is a single action firearm. You will see that it does have kind of that classic Tokarev high hammer up here at the top, which requires a very, very high Tokarev rear sight. They're 32 AC pistols. They're not super, super light. They do come with a safety. It does have a magazine disconnect safety on it, which the Bucket is not a big fan of that. I've always said, and if you look at my M88 videos, I love these 70s Yugoslavian guns. The bluing is just beautiful. We don't blue guns anymore. It's a single action pistol designed for police use and probably designed fairly well. Couple of the cons on this gun: it does have that high hammer that is going to be kind of different for some people. It does have a long throw safety, so it's actually not too hard to get to with your thumb, but it is long. It is easy to access when you need to. The grips, I am not a fan of this. You see they put this ledge on this grip, and I'm guessing that it's really designed for single hand shooting. That probably wouldn't be too bad. Forward, it makes it a little bit awkward. It's probably not going to conceal particularly well. It's already a pretty heavy gun to conceal as like a backup gun, so this grip doesn't help with that. The takedown is not ideal. I'll show that here in a minute. Also, because it's 32 ACP, I am not opposed to 32 ACP as a World War II, World War I collector. Obviously, 32 ACP is going to be something that I'm ultimately familiar with and probably buy way too much of. The problem is it's going to be expensive. So, these guns were imported as military surplus, military police surplus, and, back in the day, you get these for $150, $160, under that $200 mark, but then it really becomes a plinking toy, and at that point, it's kind of an expensive round for a plinking toy. So those are just some of the cons. Some of the pros: it is a gun. 2, guns are cool. And 3, it's inexpensive. It's fun to play with. It's inexpensive. It looks nice. It's pretty cool that way. So let me show you how to take this gun down. It is going to be a little bit different. That's one of the other cons. So we'll go ahead, we'll check to make sure that the gun is empty. We'll remove the mag. When you look at the end, there is a little guide rod here that needs to be depressed. I'm going to use a punch. If you just go down, and hopefully you can see it, I'm going to have to kind of obstruct it on the camera, and you just push down on that. Does not want to do it for me while I'm on camera. Okay, now one of the cool things is the barrel bushing will actually hold this into place until you get it to around 12, maybe 11:45. Then it's going to slide out. So you want to keep your thumb here anyway, and then you just rotate it around, and then just kind of take out the barrel bushing. That'll come out, and then the spring will come out, and then you're good there. And then I'm just going to use the same punch because I have it out. The slide stop, slide release will just come straight out, and then the slide will come off of the gun. You'll see it a couple of different ways. My spring is pretty tight in with the guide, so I like to leave mine together, and then the barrel just slides directly out the front, and then you end up with your pieces of the pistol just like so. Why they call it a baby toke, you know, you're gonna have that more 90-degree style angle. You also have a fire control group that is removable, makes it for easy replacement if you end up in a situation where you need those replaced. So that's how you disassemble this firearm. I am going to show, for those of you that have never seen a Tokarev, you can look. There's a metal piece here, a metal piece here, but there's no screw heads on them. So if you look in here, and it's hard to see, so I'm going to take this dental pick, and I'm going to take this out. I'll show you how I do it. And may not want to work with my dental pick. If it doesn't, I have another tool I can use. Handy little screwdriver. Let's put that in there. That slides right off, and then pop that right like that. And what you're doing here is this little lever, when it's like this, you can see that it goes along with the insert, and if you rotate it, it will lock it into the frame of the pistol. And that's how you remove this. You could do the same thing on this other one. You just rotate it. I'm not going to take that one off because really don't need to. So as I said before, there is a magazine disconnect safety. That is this bar right here. Let me show it to you with my dental pick. It's this bar right here, right there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you why magazine disconnect safeties are no fun. So when it comes up, so this magazine disconnect safety is obstructing the trigger bar from being able to go back. So when I put the magazine in, this piece right here is going to move up and move out of the way. Now what the problem with that is when you do that, now when you move the trigger bar has to get underneath the magazine disconnect safety, and it makes for a spongy, stiff trigger. Often on most of these guns, this little bar right here will make it so the mags will not drop free, and right now my mag won't drop free. It usually does drop free on mine. I think it's just loosened up over time. Now it would be wrong of me to tell you that you could take a dental pick or a screwdriver and just pry this little metal piece up, bend it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it would break off, and then your trigger would be a million times better and your mags would drop free. That would be really wrong of me, and I would never do such a thing. So don't take a dental pick, pull up on this little metal bar until it pries all the way out, bend it back and forth until it breaks off, and then install the grips back on. That would not be a smart decision on your part. So to reassemble it, you just go back on, and again, When it's in, I'm just going to take the screwdriver head right here from the inside of the gun. I'm going to go right on here, and I'm just going to push it across and lock it into place. Unfortunately, it's going to be pretty hard to see on camera, so you're just going to have to see what I do, and then kind of when you get your M70 at home, you can go ahead and figure that out on your own. I had actually locked it, so now it'll go right in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my screwdriver, screwdriver, put it right in there and lock that into place. Yep, and that's good and locked. Probably can't see it. Now to reassemble it, it's just the same thing in reverse. You're going to go ahead, put your barrel in. You're going to go ahead, making sure that this flat side is down resting on the barrel. You're going to put that on in. Make sure that you have it. It will look just like that. Now, the one downside to this baby Toke, which there's a lot of things that make it not like a Tokarev. So on a Tokarev, the rear section of the slide actually is part of the trigger group, or the rear section of the rails is part of the trigger group. And in this particular one, it is not, which means that this particular gun will come, it'll just kind of fall out and doesn't really lock in place. So when you are installing this, you're going to want to keep a finger on it. So the other part is, let me show this. So on most Tokarevs, there's a cotter pin over here that holds the magazine stop and magazine release. This one doesn't have one because on the end of the guide rod, it actually interfaces with that, which holds it into place. You can see right there. So you do need to have this in beforehand, and it does need to be forward for the pin to go in. So I like to leave mine all the way forward when I'm assembling the pistol and keeping the trigger group on. So it's not hard. It's not even like really a three-handed affair, but it is an affair that you need to take your time and make sure that you understand how all the pieces come together, and then make sure that you're putting together as such. Then this just slides right into place. It'll click right into place, and now you've got to get this barrel bushing back on. Now remember, it was about 12 o'clock where this went back on, so you will need to hold this down, put the barrel bushing on, and slide it into place. Now you want to make sure, for functionality, I always go ahead and check trigger, check safety, check trigger safety, and now we have a functioning firearm. These guns really were selling for that let's just say 170, sub 200, a long time, not even that long ago. Really, you're starting to see that these guns are drying up on the surplus market. When I tried to find one for sale, I saw that they were selling, you could find them for like $250, but it said they needed armorer's work. They were refurbished. When you find them, due to certain laws, they will remove the kind of classic Tokarev rear sight and put a plastic sporting sight on. Unfortunately, that sporting sight is in no way, shape, or form zeroed to the gun. So pretty much you immediately need to remove that and buy a new sight for it. And they're not necessarily the super easiest things to find. You can buy night sights for them. I hear they're like $50 to $75. So really right now, if you can find one for that sub $200, pick it up. You're going to end up making money on it long term. As far as what to get one in this condition, where the bluing's nice, the grips are in good condition, it has the rear sight ready to go, really you're probably looking at around $300 is what you're going to end up spending. You know, some of you in different areas of the country may still find them for 200, 250. But when I looked online to pick one of these up online in this condition, like I said, without the plastic sight, with a functional sight on it, with pretty good bluing in good working order, you know, 275, 300 is what you're going to look like you're going to spend on it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this to the Goat Whisperer's Ranch. We're going to go ahead and we're going to run this gun, see how she does, and I look forward to bringing that back to you guys. So I want to thank you so much for all the likes, all the comments, all those things are really, really appreciated. Any shares that you can give me would be awesome. And as always, you stay classy, YouTube. Little baby bucket, do you want to live in California?
No.
Why?
Because I'm not a compliment.